5 examples that I want to go through and just show you how to approach them. Now, I do want to remind you, so I did actually a pretty in-depth video on rearranging formulas, so I'll put up a link up above. You can take a look at that one as well. Okay, so as this one. So here in this particular example, so let's start with the first one. So we're going to take this, and I'm going to just kind of walk you through every single one of them. Well, that's not what we wanted. Let me copy this down. Okay, so paste it. All right, make it a little bit bigger. So we are isolating for R. So in order to isolate for R, so here we're not going to have a lot of work to do. So we have PV is equal to nRT. So we're going to take both sides, since we want R on its own right here. We're going to divide by n, so this n cancels. And we're going to divide by t, so this t cancels. And we have to do that also on the other side. That's going to be nt. And all you have left is your R on the right-hand side. That's what you would have. And that would be your final answer. Now, of course, you can write it from left to right, so that's up to you. But that's the solution, okay? Now you've isolated for R. Let's take a look at another example. So this one looks a little bit more complicated. Let's copy it down. Let's bring it right here. Let's take a look. Switch the color here. So in this example, so we're supposed to be isolating for y. Well, y appears actually on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So we're going to try to bring the terms with the y together on one side and everything else on the other. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the brackets so that I have no brackets at all. So I'm going to bring this negative inside. So that's going to give me 3x minus x minus 4y equals 2yz. So that's the first thing. Now, I do notice right away, so right here, 3x minus x, so these are like terms, so I can collect them. So that's going to be 2x. So that's going to simplify this for me just a little. Now I'm going to bring the terms with the y on one side. All right, so in order to do that, so I can bring this over to this side over here because it's only one term with the y, and I'll leave the 2x right here. So that's going to be y, okay, or z plus 4y. Now the next item is I have y and y in these two terms. All right, so that's why in the beginning of this video I kind of said you might want to take a look, all right, at the videos on kind of rearranging. And here I use the trick of basically factoring out the y. So I'm going to take out the y, and all I'm going to have left is z or z plus the 4, and then the y is going to be taken out. The y can be in front or it can be in the back. All right, so that's what I have done. Now I'm going to have 2x over here. So this is what we carry. And then now finally, so dividing both of these, okay, by this, so that's going to cancel this out, and it's going to leave it on the other side. And there you have it. You've now isolated for what you wanted. All right, so that's what you have. Now, of course, the denominator, you could have written it as 4 plus z. All right, that doesn't really matter, okay? But that would have been the answer for this. All right, let's take a look at the next question. So the next example. So again, they seem to get a little bit harder, but we'll see about that. So let me paste this. Make it bigger. Well, this was the same one. All right, let me take this again. Hopefully it works. All right. So this is what we have next. So I want to isolate for D2. So for this D2, it's inside of this bracket. Okay, so how am I going to do that? Now, I do have brackets here, and then sometimes people might get tempted to start, trying to get rid of the brackets. But notice that my unknown is only in one bracket, which means, so this bracket right here, and this, so these are two factors that I have. These two factors I can actually get rid of. I don't have to distribute it inside of that bracket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both sides. So I'm going to get rid of the 1 plus d1 and then the tp. So notice it's going to cancel this out and it's going to cancel this out. And of course I have to do that on the other side as well. So what I'm going to get on the other side is the following. I'm going to have r and then 1 plus d1 and then tp is equal to, and all I have now left is this. All right, that's all that I have. And now because I am trying to solve for this d2, I want to be able to isolate it on its own. All right, I want to have it just on one side. So this is what I'm going to do. So this is one term, so I'm going to bring this term over to this side because I'll make it positive. All right, because that's what I'm solving for. So I'm going to have d2 on this side, and I'm going to bring this entire thing, so this right here, I'm going to bring it over to this side because it's just a term, right? It's r divided by all that junk. So I'm going to have the 1 stays there. If I bring the term over, I'm going to have r all over, and this is going to be 1 plus d1 tp, and I've isolated for d2. Now on the right hand side, you can play around and make it look different. Okay, you can find common denominators and so on. I'm going to avoid that because our goal was just to isolate for d2. Okay, so that's this example. So let's take a look at the fourth example. So in this example right here, let me copy it. Hopefully it copies correctly. Paste it. All right. First, let me talk about this a little bit. So delta x, okay, so that little triangle, it means delta. It means change in x, the change in x. So for some of you, okay, you might think that this is two variables, with the triangle as a variable and the x. No, this is one variable, okay? It's just one. Okay, so for those who may not know, so this really means the change, and the change between some final value of x minus some initial value of x. This triangle means delta, it means change. For us, it doesn't really matter here, but what's important is that you treat it as one variable. Okay, so I'm going to just keep that in mind. So this is one variable, and if this is one variable, then this actually is a very simple problem, because in order to solve this, if I just want to isolate for delta x, I'm going to divide by negative k. Negatives cancel, k cancel, and of course I do that on the other side. So what I'm going to get is negative f over x. Now you can put the negative at the bottom if you want, or in front is just fine. So this is actually delta x. That's it. All right, so it's just literally just that. All right, and here, just so that you don't think I'm a little goofy here, so this is k. All right, so it's f over k. Okay, it's not f over x. That would have been silly of me. All right, so this is what you have for this example. So now let's continue on. So here is the last one, and this one looks definitely like a problem. Let's take a look. Let me paste it. Okay, perfect, worked out. Now we want to be able to isolate for W2. Now W2 is in two spots. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is, because I noticed that my variable that I'm trying to solve for is both in the numerator and denominator, I'm going to get rid of the denominators. So I'm going to be multiplying both sides by W1 plus W2 because I want to get rid of that. So what this is going to look like is the following. So I'm going to multiply both sides by W1 plus W2. All right, so that's going to be on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, if I do that, right, so here, I have my W1 plus W2. So if I multiply that by W1, W2, so that will cancel it, right? So it will cancel that denominator right out. Okay, so this is what I have. Now, I'm going to, because again, I am after W2, so it's in two spots, I want to get those things on one side together. So in order to do that, so again, I'm going to distribute through the brackets. So I am going to get, so this is going to be W1G plus W2G equals, on the right hand side, it's going to be W1G1, so that's from there, plus W2G2. All right, so that's there. Just got to make sure that those 1s and 2s are correct. So now again, I want these two guys on one side. So let me bring this side, so this term right here over to the left, and we're going to bring this term over to the right, okay, because we want to be able to group those together. So that's going to leave me W2G, so that's right here, minus W2, and this is going to be G2, so that's this term, and then W1G1 minus W1G. All right, so that's that. Now I'm going to use the factoring, so I'm going to factor out my W2. So let me factor it out, and if I do that, I'm going to have G minus G2 left, so G and G2. The W2 has been taken out, and that's going to equal to, so basically this. All right, just copy it. And the final step to solve this is we want to be able to just have, so I'm going to divide both sides by that. So this will cancel, and we'll have our W2 equals exactly that. And then I hope I had the W1s and Gs and G1s and so on. They were all correct there. So that's a very hard one. You can go over it. You can leave some comments as well. All right, so thanks for watching. That completes all of these examples. See you in a future video.